my channel. Today we are going to finally do it, the long-awaited DIY headshot video. I'm going to talk all about how I do my DIY headshots, because if you guys didn't know this, I actually shot this right here in this room for $0, which is pretty great. DIY headshots are especially great for kids and teens, because if you think about it, when you're like 31 versus 32, you're probably gonna look the same. But the difference between like an 11-year-old and a 12-year-old, they can look completely different in just a couple months. Updating headshots can get really, really expensive, so knowing how to take a great one at home is super helpful. So I've broken it down into 3 steps: pre-shoot, during the shoot, and post-shoot. So let's start off with pre-shoot. The number one thing that completely changed my headshot game is getting inspired. Do a bunch of research. What kind of research? Glad you asked. Not creepy shoulder girl, just regular shoulder girl. Find headshots of actors that match your casting type. If you don't know what your casting type is, I have a whole video on it. I'll link it down below. Your casting type is a very useful tool. For instance, I know that my casting type is not sexy. I don't do that. I'm not Lola from Damn Yankees. That's not what I do. I know that I don't need that sultry, sexy, smoky eye headshot because I don't play that. Another really helpful tool that I'll use if I'm updating my headshots, especially if it's for a specific look or a specific show, is that I'll research the headshots of the people who have played that role or roles that I want to play in the future. Both of those exercises are really helpful when it comes to painting broad strokes of what you want your headshot to look like. To figure out the finer details, something that I really love doing is going to a fancy headshot website and clicking through the gallery. Look at each person and cast them as a role right off the bat without knowing their voice type or their acting ability. Just see who did they look like to you. Then figure out why. Why did you associate that person with that role? Like I mentioned earlier, your headshot isn't just a tool for casting teams to remember who you are. It's a tool on whether or not a casting team is going to call you in at all. Your outfit and your location should be pre-planned. You shouldn't be doing this spur of the moment. This is something that you plan in advance. If you're shooting indoors, you usually have a little more control over the elements. If you're shooting outside, the lighting might change, the weather might be bad. Make sure to check the weather. So the trend for headshots changes every couple years. There was a time a while back when everyone's theatrical headshot was very serious and in black and white. Nowadays they are in color. They're typically vertical. Some are very trendy and horizontal. If you want to do a horizontal headshot, make sure that you have at least one vertical one as well, because sometimes for some submissions they might only want vertical. There are 2 main kinds of headshots: commercial and theatrical. Commercial usually have bright colors and bright backgrounds, and you usually have an expression on like you just went to Disneyland and ate some yogurt. Buy this yogurt. I love yogurt. Because it's a commercial headshot. It's exactly what you think it is. Theatrical headshots are traditionally a little more serious. They don't necessarily need to be like dramatic. You can still smile, but they're not quite as like, hey. It's like a, hey, I'm just acting out headshots right now. What is this video? Make sure that your outfit is clean and wrinkle-free. Make sure there isn't any writing on your clothes, and try to keep logos as small as possible. When you're figuring out your hair, makeup, and outfit for your headshot, you need to make sure that it all makes sense for your brand. It might not necessarily be what you wear every day, but it needs to make sense for your casting type, the characters you want to play, who you are on screen or on stage. You want to test out your hair and makeup prior to the shoot, and you want to take pictures of it. Things have a tendency to look different in person than they do on camera. Also keep in mind that headshot makeup is very different from street makeup. If you need help figuring out how to do your makeup for headshots, I have a video on that, so check it out down below. I'll link it. Depending on what your skin issues are in terms of like concealing blemishes or breakouts, it might be easier to go very, very light on the makeup and just edit out the blemish in post. I'd say the 2 most important technical elements would be lighting and your camera. For lighting, you're going to need even lighting. You can definitely shoot outdoor. Natural light is amazing. However, you don't want it to be harsh. A really great tip is to shoot in the shade. That way your face is evenly lit and you don't have like a weird shadow of your nose covering half your face. For your camera, do not take a headshot on a phone. Don't take a selfie. Don't do that. Use a DSLR. It's one of those big clunky cameras with the removable lenses. If you don't have one, ask a parent, ask a friend, ask a teacher. A lot of colleges, community colleges, high schools have photography clubs, and a lot of the times they have assignments and they need to take headshots of people. So ask around and see if anyone needs to do that. Part 2. the shoot day. Get plenty of sleep the night before. In fact, I'd say the whole week leading up to your headshots. Exercise, drink water, moisturize, take good care of yourself. You want to be glowy and you want to be in a good mood. On the actual morning of the shoot, take a few test shots right off the bat. Because let me tell you, there is nothing more annoying than taking like an hour's worth of photos only to discover that your shirt looks really weird on camera, or your hair was doing this weird funky thing and it ruined every photo, or maybe you had something in your teeth. Whatever it is, take a few test shots and see what's up. If everything looks good, continue taking photos. If not, now is the time to readjust. When you're framing the photo, you want to utilize the rule of thirds. If you turn on the grid on your phone, it's those lines that go like this, and then there are lines that go like this. When you frame a photo, you want to be on one of the cross sections that are like over here. You can crop the photo later on to make sure that it matches up with the rule of thirds, but by cropping the image, you're actually making it smaller and then blowing it up again, which can decrease the quality. So if you can initially take the photo without having to crop it that much, it'll help keep the quality really high. Post photo session, you want to edit this photo as little as possible. Every edit you do decreases the quality of the image. Print it out on photo paper. Don't print it out on like regular paper or glossy paper. Neither of those things is what you print them on. Photo paper is what you want. If you choose to print it at home, make sure that your computer is set to photo paper. Otherwise, the image will look super weird. So there you guys go. Those are my tips on how to take a DIY headshot. I hope they helped you out. If it did, give this video a big thumbs up. I love you guys so, so much. Break a leg, and I'll see you guys soon. Bye!